I've always been firm about not wanting children, but my partner was set on starting a family. So I spent months creating lists of conditions to persuade myself I could handle motherhood. Ultimately, I realized I was just delaying the inevitable breakup, so I ended things. I'm not entirely sure why I'm sharing this. Deep down, I believe I made the right call, but the thought of finality is so painful that I struggle to fully commit to it, haunted by the fear of regret. I've been telling myself I might be undecided, but it's becoming clear I was just avoiding the end of my relationship. I've never felt a strong pull toward having kids. I'm someone who's always been a bit youthful and playful for my age, enjoying being cared for. Life milestones like moving out came late for me. I only recently completed medical school and started working at 25, not by choice, but it delayed things nonetheless. My current partner of 1.5 years has always been certain about wanting children, ideally at least 2 before we got together. I was staunchly child-free for over a year. We thought that might end our relationship, but we decided to keep going, hoping my perspective might shift once I settled into my career. I read countless articles, reflected for hours, and even explored books like The Baby Decision, thinking maybe a single child could be manageable. We maintained open communication throughout. I created a detailed list of conditions under which I could imagine having kids. Stable mental health, job satisfaction. I'm currently navigating career uncertainty. A weekly date night, family support for monthly breaks, enough savings for a nanny, a partner willing to handle at least half the parenting responsibilities, and teaching the child to be independent. The list was extensive, and many conditions were impossible to guarantee. What if the child had special needs? What if they were highly social and felt ignored by my need for space? In the end, I realized I was bargaining with myself to avoid facing the reality that our relationship was doomed. I might change my mind someday, but likely not soon enough for my partner. I don't regret staying in the relationship. He's taught me so much, and we've shared incredible moments and growth that we would have missed if we'd ended things earlier. But we'll have to part ways eventually, because I want him to have the family he dreams of, a future he deserves with someone who shares that vision, not someone who has to force themselves to tolerate the idea of parenting with endless stipulations. Someone uninterested in the daily demands of raising kids isn't truly suited for it. It's heartbreaking because I'm so happy with him. He's incredibly kind, understanding, and empathetic, with a shared sense of humor that makes every moment together joyful. We complement each other perfectly. He's steady and motivates me to take action, while I help him express his emotions and offer thoughtful perspectives. Our core values align deeply, rooted in authenticity and compassion. Without this issue, I could easily envision a long-term future with him. He'd be an incredible, fully committed parent. He's open to any arrangement, staying home, supporting me if I chose to, or both of us working. He loves cooking for me and nurturing me, and I know he'd be a devoted father who'd make his kids feel cherished. He's supportive, always encouraging me to improve my life. He volunteers weekly teaching children and participates in international youth camps every year or so. Having grown up with emotionally distant parents, I've benefited immensely from his validation and encouragement to open up. Sometimes I wonder if part of my attraction to him stems from his nurturing qualities, the same ones that would make him an amazing dad. I'm terrified I'll never find someone as wonderful as him. It's a strange thought, but I worry that anyone as selfless and caring as he is might also want kids. I'm not saying child-free people are uncaring, especially since I lean that way myself, but I wonder if we prioritize ourselves more. He naturally looks out for others, including me, without seeing it as a burden. Oddly, I crave a partner I can care for and who cares for me. But I don't want the one-sided responsibility of raising a child who can't reciprocate for years, if ever. The only reasons I'd consider kids are practical ones, like having someone around in old age or if my partner passed away young, or sentimental ones, like giving them a better childhood than mine. But those aren't strong enough motivators for me. I know parenting would be tough for me. While I'm deeply empathetic and hold strong values, I'm less willing to handle physical tasks like chores or cooking. For instance, I can't even lie in games like Among Us because it feels wrong, and I constantly express my affection for my partner while being attuned to others' emotions. I'd gladly listen to someone vent if they needed support, but I wouldn't stay late at work to help with tasks or assist with something like moving furniture. I batch cook meals to avoid the hassle of daily cooking. Child-rearing involves endless practical tasks, driving kids around, preparing meals, getting them up in the morning. that I'd find draining. I'd feel compelled to cook proper meals for them, not just reheat leftovers for days. I also get stressed easily, even with minor work demands like patient complaints or paperwork. I thrive on order and convenience, and I struggle when things don't go as planned. Kids are unpredictable, and I doubt I could handle their ever-changing needs and moods. During busy work periods, I can't sleep or relax, and I fear parenting would bring that same chronic stress, even with breaks. I need 8 to 9 hours of sleep to function, which is nearly impossible with children. Having experienced childhood neglect and carrying intense emotions from past trauma, I crave being understood and cared for. I'd struggle with kids who, through no fault of their own, can't consider my mental state while navigating their own challenges. I'm also physically sensitive to both pain and pleasure, and the physical toll of pregnancy and childbirth would be unbearable. A past accidental pregnancy, which I terminated, brought intense nausea that made life miserable for months. I know I might regret not having kids, but given my current mental health and personality, the costs outweigh the uncertain benefits. Biology might make me love a child, but that's irrelevant if I can avoid the choice altogether. So I think I need to end things soon for both our futures. Edit. Thank you all for your supportive words. They mean the world and make me feel less isolated in this struggle. I'll respond individually later, but wanted to express my gratitude. Update 1. The breakup was gut-wrenching. Even though we were only together for about a year and a half, it was enough time for him to become a huge part of my life. Our final weekend together was spent crying for hours in the car, exchanging heartfelt cards and gifts. I grieved for weeks and felt hollow for months. I still miss being in a relationship sometimes, but things are much better now and I'm largely at peace. I don't think about him daily anymore, and when I do, it doesn't sting. We parted with the hope of staying loosely in touch, not close friends, but friendly, rooting for each other's happiness. I'm considering reaching out in a few months once I've healed more. We've had no contact so far, which has been the right move. Still, I feel certain I made the correct choice. I can see now how continuing would have led to disastrous outcomes, and even imagining the best-case scenario with him feels wrong. It doesn't suit me. It's odd to think I doubted this so much, but love and societal expectations can cloud anyone's judgment after the breakup. I moved into a new apartment with roommates who are a bit older and share my views on kids and other societal norms. Their lifestyle reassures me that living authentically is valid. I didn't have many older role models before, and while they'd probably chuckle at being called role models, frozen pizza is a staple here. It's comforting to feel understood. I'm not ready to date seriously yet, but small moments of flirtation and compliments give me hope. My friends have been incredible through this, and I'm grateful I never sidelined them for the relationship, though I see how easily that can happen. I now see endless possibilities for a child-free future, and it feels liberating, like a burden has been lifted. I'll likely have moments of doubt, but they'd happen either way, and I'm constantly reminded why this path suits me. On a recent flight, I sat near kids who spent an hour whining, "Mom, why?" in every variation. It was cute for a moment, but quickly grating, confirming I'd lose my mind dealing with that constantly. My gut led me to the right decision. Being a junior doctor helped clarify this. Long hours, despite the supposed fulfillment of helping others, never outweighed the exhaustion for me, unlike some colleagues. Reflecting on what truly brings me joy, sleep, quiet, free time, avoiding mental burdens, was key. These seem small, but they've defined my happiest versus darkest moments. Choosing my mental health and investing in existing relationships isn't selfish. It's necessary. Update 2. Nearly 3 years after ending things with my ex, who I deeply loved but who wanted kids, I'm thriving. Work is still intense, but going part-time has been a game changer, giving me time for hobbies and relaxation. If I had kids, part-time work wouldn't mean rest. It'd just mean more time for parenting, as I see with colleagues. Therapy has been transformative, helping me process my struggles and reinforcing that my instincts about not wanting kids were spot on. Working in child mental health has shown me the harm caused by parents who have kids for misguided reasons, like saving a relationship, which often hurts the child or fails anyway. It's clear I'd be passing down unresolved issues if I became a parent. Surprisingly, I'm in a new relationship, which started after a healthy grieving period. My new partner, together nearly 2 years, is everything my ex was and more, with additional qualities I thought I'd never find. He's thoughtful and engages deeply with my introspective nature. On our first date, I brought up the kid topic, and he was thrilled, seeing it as a sign of my seriousness. He was a fence-sitter who hadn't thought much about kids, assuming he might have them later but open to not having them. I was nervous about his uncertainty, but he's since made it clear he's not eager for kids either. I worried I'd struggle to find a partner who didn't want children, but it's becoming more common. Even without him, I'd be content with my friends and family, far less stress than parenting I don't want. Reading my original post now is surreal. I clearly didn't want kids for countless reasons, yet leaving was so hard. The validation that I made the right choice gave me confidence in my future. I trust my instincts strongly but falter when I overthink logically instead of listening to my gut. For example, I once took a stressful job with better pay and hours, ignoring my sense that another role would suit me better. My intuition was right. Peace is invaluable. Next story. My boyfriend proposed, but I later discovered he only did it because he felt pressured, letting me plan our wedding for 14 months while living rent-free at my parents' house, knowing he wasn't truly ready to marry me. I'm 24F and my fiancé, 26M, have been together for 6 years, living together for 2 and engaged for just over a year. We've always been a great match. Same humor, shared passions, practically inseparable. I thought our communication was solid, but I was mistaken. One major issue is that I feel like his caretaker. He shows little initiative, rarely initiating affection. Not even intimacy, but simple things like hugs or cuddles. It makes me feel undesirable. I plan all our dates, initiate closeness, and decide our activities. He comes home from his 4 p.m. job, grabs his laptop and zones out, likely gaming. We fold laundry while watching TV and then sleep. Living more like roommates or an old married couple. I've raised this issue multiple times, and he'd promised to improve, showing effort for a couple of months before slipping back. But what shattered me was a recent conversation. I pushed for couples counseling to address his lack of initiative, and he admitted he proposed because he felt I expected it, not because he was fully ready. I'd been searching for wedding venues, even took him to one to book it, but he hesitated, saying he wanted to see more options. When I asked him to research some, he confessed he hadn't looked since September. He took the ring back, saying he'd propose again when he was truly ready, admitting he wasn't 14 months ago and still isn't. I've loved him for 6 years, but learning he proposed under pressure and let me plan a wedding, making Pinterest boards, guest lists, while knowing it was based on a falsehood feels like I proposed to myself. He booked counseling after our talk and we're going today, but I initially agreed to work on his lack of initiative, not knowing about the engagement lie. Now I'm not sure I can continue. He's trying harder to be attentive, but it feels too late. How do I navigate this? I'm giving him hope by attending therapy, but I'm leaning toward ending things over the engagement betrayal. Can I move past this? Update. Your comments were eye-opening. Thank you for sharing your stories. In therapy, I expressed everything from my original post. He struggled to respond, offering nothing new. The therapist suggested living apart, but it felt clear we were headed for a breakup. I took a few days to reflect and ended things about a week after my post. His reaction broke me. At first, he was dramatic, painting himself as the victim, saying I was abandoning a sinking ship while he was still fighting. I had to remind him he broke my trust first by lying for months and taking the ring back. Then he'd cry and act distraught, but the next day he was fine, acting like nothing happened, talking about staying good friends. He'd occasionally throw out comments like, "If anyone asks, I can't say we broke up. I have to say you shattered my heart," or "You stopped pretending to love me." Otherwise, no real effort to fight for us or show pain. I asked him to move out 3 times, setting a 2-week deadline 3 weeks after the ring incident. He acted hurt, saying he didn't expect me to kick him out so soon, but didn't seriously look for a place. My parents, who'd let him live rent-free in their home like family, finally told him to leave. He was offended by their reaction but moved out yesterday. I helped him pack. Now, after 6.5 years, I'm alone. New year, new me, I suppose. Thank you all for reading and commenting. I could use some encouragement. This feels like a piece of me is gone, and I need to know this pain will fade.